And I've been criticizing them for 8 years for doing it, pointing out that it's not the job of the media to take sides.
Caroline Leavitt is the press secretary at the White House, doing a great job. Such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming upon them.
Sunny Hostin, a name once synonymous with sharp legal insight and an unwavering voice for justice, now finds herself at the center of a storm so fierce it threatens to sweep her right off the set of The View. It's no secret that the daytime talk show thrives on heated debates and spicy takes, but lately, Sunny has been the source of controversy that even the producers, famously tolerant of on-air drama, might not be able to stomach much longer. Whispers of her potential firing have been circulating behind the scenes, and the rumors only seem to gain traction with every polarizing statement she makes. The tension, palpable. The stakes, higher than ever. And at this point, it's not just about ratings, it's about survival.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
It all started with a single phrase, just a few words that sent shockwaves through the audience and social media alike. Sunny infamously referred to white women who voted for Donald Trump as uneducated, a remark that ignited a fury few could have anticipated. The backlash was immediate and relentless. Devin Mostert, wife of Miami Dolphins star Raheem Mostert, didn't hold back, calling the comment disgusting and unacceptable. Social media exploded with criticism, with users branding Sunny as out of touch, elitist, and, perhaps most damningly, hypocritical. But this wasn't the first time Sunny's words struck a nerve, and it certainly wouldn't be the last.
When it comes to questions about who is the administrator of Doge, actually, do you believe that's an important question to have the answer to?
No, the issue is not who is technically the administrator, who has the title. Elon Musk is clearly running the show, the wealthiest person in the world, who has enormous conflicts of interests, who is helping to fund right-wing extremist organizations all over the world.
For years, Sunny Hostin has walked a tightrope between being the voice of moral authority and the embodiment of controversy. However, her recent statements have pushed many viewers and even some of her co-hosts over the edge. As the election results rolled in, showing Donald Trump's landslide victory over Kamala Harris, Sunny didn't mince words. With a tone of incredulity, she declared the results a reflection of America's deep-rooted racism and misogyny. It wasn't just a critique of the political system. It felt like an indictment of the American people themselves. And while her co-hosts attempted to steer the conversation toward policy nuances, Sunny doubled down, pointing to a graph that she claimed showed a clear racial divide in the voting patterns. The implication was unmistakable. To Sunny, this election was about more than politics. It was about race and gender in America. The fallout was swift. Critics accused Sunny of painting with too broad a brush, alienating vast swaths of the audience. Elisa Farah Griffin, the show's conservative voice, pushed back hard, arguing that voters were motivated by economic concerns and a desire for stability, not bigotry. The back and forth grew so heated that at one point Sunny snapped, "The stats are the stats." But it wasn't just Elisa who was fed up. Even Sarah Haynes, known for her measured and empathetic demeanor, chimed in, suggesting that while racism and misogyny might play a role, they weren't the whole story. Sunny, however, wasn't interested in nuance. To her, the numbers spoke for themselves, and anyone who didn't see it was either willfully ignorant or complicit.
It's the more insidious, secret partisan behavior of very liberal-dominated newsrooms working at the supposedly impartial.
The tension wasn't confined to the table. Behind the scenes, producers were reportedly livid. The View thrives on controversy, but there's a fine line between provocative and alienating, and Sunny seemed to be veering dangerously close to the latter. Ratings, while still strong, showed signs of slipping in key demographics. Viewer feedback flooded in, much of it scathing, when Sunny fans of the show expressed frustration, accusing Sunny of turning what was once a lively debate forum into a one-woman crusade. And while producers have always valued Sunny's perspective, they couldn't ignore the growing chorus of discontent. After all, the show's success hinges on its ability to appeal to a broad audience, and Sunny's increasingly polarizing presence was starting to feel like a liability.
But I would tell them to look at themselves very hard in the mirror and say, have we really not brought this on ourselves?
But if Sunny was feeling the heat, she didn't show it. In fact, she seemed emboldened, doubling down on her critiques and pushing the envelope even further. When discussing Trump's immigration policies, she accused the administration of targeting migrants who look a certain way, a claim that sparked yet another round of heated debate. Alyssa Farah Griffin attempted to fact-check her, pointing out that many immigrants crossing the northern border were from countries like India and Mexico, not Canada. Sunny, visibly frustrated, shot back, "Can I finish talking?" The moment went viral, with clips circulating online and viewers taking sides. Some praised Sunny for standing her ground, while others accused her of being dismissive and unwilling to engage in good faith.
Problem is that this wasn't the guy to fix anything. This is the guy that is the king of breaking things, as we can see.
Yeah. Well, Congresswoman, Elon Musk and Doge, the team, have been infiltrating and dismantling federal agencies. He says he's rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, all while gaining access to some of our most sensitive data. So you sit on the Doge subcommittee run by Representative.
The drama didn't stop there. Sunny's personal life began to bleed into the public eye, further complicating her position. Her husband, Dre Emmanuel Hostin, found himself embroiled in legal trouble, accused of insurance fraud in a case that quickly became tabloid fodder. While Sunny defended him fiercely, accusing the insurance company of targeting her family unfairly, the allegations cast a shadow over her credibility. Critics seized on the opportunity to question her integrity, suggesting that her moral grandstanding on The View rang hollow in light of her personal controversies. And while Sunny has always been a polarizing figure, the combination of her on-air remarks and off-screen drama made her a lightning rod for criticism like never before. The producers of The View were reportedly divided on how to handle the situation. On one hand, Sunny's outspoken nature had always been part of her appeal. She brought a sharp legal mind and a willingness to tackle tough topics head-on, qualities that set her apart from her co-hosts. But on the other hand, her increasingly combative tone and controversial statements were alienating viewers and creating tension on set. Rumors swirled that executives were considering a shakeup, with Sunny's seat at the table potentially on the chopping block. Yet at the same time, others within the production team argued that letting her go would only fuel the narrative that The View couldn't handle strong, uncompromising voices.
Having some more conservative voices on your network, actually not making them pariahs, not directing your audience to feel that everything that Donald Trump does.
And then there was the legal drama. The accusations against Emmanuel Hostin were serious, and while Sunny maintained her husband's innocence, the case raised questions about her judgment and credibility. How could she continue to position herself as a voice of moral authority when her own household was under such scrutiny? The tabloids had a field day, with headlines blaring accusations and speculation. For Sunny, it was a deeply personal attack. But for her critics, it was yet another example of hypocrisy from a woman who had built her career on calling out others. As the pressure mounted, Sunny's defenders rallied to her side, arguing that she was being unfairly targeted for speaking truth to power. They pointed out that The View has always been a space for strong opinions and lively debate, and that Sunny was simply doing her job. But her critics weren't convinced. To them, Sunny wasn't just voicing her opinions, she was alienating viewers, dividing the panel, and tarnishing the show's reputation. And with the allegations against her husband adding fuel to the fire, it seemed like the walls were closing in.
Mr. Speaker, have you been discovered? Has Sunny Hostin discovered that the real motivation here, should you pass a baby bump tax incentive, is not to combat what looks like a very scary future of not just the U.S., but actually many countries across Western civilization, to reverse declining birthing rates, but actually what you're out there doing is trying to bring in new white babies.
But Sunny Hostin isn't one to back down from a fight. If anything, the controversies seemed to energize her. She continued to speak out, unapologetically and unflinchingly, even as the backlash grew. To her, the criticism was proof that she was striking a nerve, challenging the status quo, and forcing uncomfortable conversations. But to her detractors, it was evidence that she was out of touch, unwilling to listen, and ultimately more interested in making headlines than fostering genuine dialogue. And so the question looms, how much longer can Sunny Hostin hold on to her seat at the View table? The producers are reportedly weighing their options, the audience is growing increasingly divided, and the tension on set is reaching a boiling point. But one thing is clear, this is far from over. If anything, it feels like the drama is just beginning to unfold.
Absolutely absurd. The View is an absurd program. Yours, on the other hand, Will, is fantastic. You're doing a great show, and I'm so honored to be with you. Look, that's no surprise what The View is doing there. Every creative idea that the president and this White House come up with, they pan immediately, no matter what merit it may have. We are the Republican Party. We're the pro-family party. We always have been. We take great pride in that. We're working every day to rebuild a culture of life.
And yet, the chaos surrounding Sunny Hostin is just one domino in a chain of controversies that has come to define The View in recent years. If you thought Sunny's polarizing presence was the stormiest weather this show has faced, think again. Because behind the scenes of this seemingly polished daytime juggernaut, a web of feuds, accusations, and public missteps stretches far beyond her seat at the table. The co-hosts themselves seem locked in a perpetual Cold War, where alliances shift with alarming speed and no one, not even the most seasoned veterans, is safe from the fallout. And if you've ever wondered how a show built on fiery debates manages to teeter so precariously on the edge without imploding, well, you're not alone. Take Alyssa Farah Griffin, for instance. The former Trump administration official turned daytime commentator has been walking a thin line since the day she joined the panel. It's no secret that her conservative stance often puts her at odds with her liberal counterparts, but lately, her clashes with Sunny have been nothing short of explosive. It's not just about differing political ideologies anymore, it's personal. The tension between the two women has spilled over into on-air exchanges that are as awkward as they are unmissable. Elisa's habit of interrupting her co-hosts has been called out repeatedly, most recently by both Sunny and Whoopi Goldberg. And it wasn't just a casual correction. Whoopi's sharp retort during a live broadcast, "Hold on a second, just let me finish, now this time," was as much a public dressing down as it was a power move. Lissa, visibly flustered, apologized, but the damage was done. The clip went viral, with viewers either defending her as a victim of liberal bias or lambasting her for being unprepared and disruptive.
Let me say someplace that could really use a lot of cutting. You know, Elon has very many, what do you call it?
Government contracts?
Yeah. I think, because I don't remember, maybe y'all heard it, but I don't remember looking for an armored car. And I don't remember.
But Elisa's interruptions are hardly the most controversial thing about her tenure on The View. As a former ally of Donald Trump, she's faced relentless scrutiny from both viewers and her co-hosts. Joy Behar, never one to shy away from a jab, has openly questioned Elisa's credibility, once sarcastically asking if she was still in touch with her old boss. And while Alyssa has made it clear that she distanced herself from Trump after the events of January 6th, her critics aren't letting her forget her past affiliations. The result? A near constant air of defensiveness that has made her a lightning rod for criticism on social media and an easy target for her more seasoned co-hosts. Whoopi Goldberg, for her part, has been playing referee in this dysfunctional circus for years, but even she hasn't been immune to controversy. Known for her quick wit and even quicker temper, Whoopi's comments have landed her in hot water more times than anyone can count. Whether it's her contentious remarks about the Holocaust, where she infamously claimed it wasn't about race, or her dismissive attitude towards certain conservative viewpoints, Whoopi has become a polarizing figure in her own right. Her detractors accuse her of being out of touch and overly combative, while her supporters argue that she's simply unafraid to speak her mind. Either way, the backlash has been fierce, with calls for her resignation growing louder in the aftermath of each misstep.
I don't care what it looks like. I don't remember asking for it. I don't know why I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
I want to know, when did I say, hey, we need another agency next to NASA?
Yeah.
So when did we start paying for his stuff?
About SpaceX overseeing FAA?
No. You know that he's going to be cutting.
Yeah.
And then there's Joy Behar, the longest-serving co-host and arguably the most unapologetically opinionated member of the panel. Joy's humor and sharp tongue have made her a fan favorite, but they've also made her a magnet for controversy. Her recent comments about Trump's new press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, are a prime example. Joy quipped that Leavitt only got the job because, in Trump's eyes, she's a 10. The remark was meant to be a snarky critique of Trump's hiring practices, but it came across as a cheap shot at Leavitt's appearance. The backlash was immediate, with critics accusing Joy of perpetuating the very sexism she claims to oppose. Social media lit up with calls for an apology, but true to form, Joy doubled down, insisting that her comment was taken out of context.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
But Leavitt isn't the only public figure to find herself in Joy's crosshairs. Over the years, Joy has gone after everyone from Republican politicians to conservative commentators, often with a level of vitriol that leaves viewers divided. Her critics argue that her attacks are mean-spirited and unproductive, while her fans see her as a fearless truth-teller. Either way, there's no denying that Joy's barbs have made her one of the most talked-about figures on daytime television. Even Sunny Hostin's fiercest defenders have had to admit that her clashes with Joy have added yet another layer of tension to an already volatile environment. Their disagreements are often framed as ideological. Sunny's focus on systemic issues versus Joy's more individualistic approach, but there's an undeniable personal edge to their exchanges. During a recent discussion about the removal of a Black Lives Matter mural in Washington, D.C., Sunny's emotional defense of the movement clashed with Joy's more pragmatic take on the issue. The argument escalated quickly, with both women raising their voices and interrupting each other. By the time the segment ended, the tension was palpable, and viewers were left wondering how long the two could continue to share the same stage.
Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh, yeah. Let me explain something to you.
But if you think the drama is confined to the co-hosts, think again. The View has also found itself at odds with a growing list of public figures, from former White House staffers to Hollywood celebrities. Caroline Leavitt, Trump's new press secretary, has become a particular thorn in the show's side. After her first press briefing, where she announced plans to include independent journalists and social media influencers in the White House press pool, the co-hosts were quick to criticize. Sunny dismissed the move as a ploy to undermine traditional media, while Whoopi suggested that it would lead to a flood of unqualified people spouting stuff in the briefing room. Leavitt fired back on social media, accusing the co-hosts of being out of touch and unwilling to adapt to the changing media landscape. The feud has only escalated since, with both sides trading barbs in what feels like a never-ending war of words.
Speaking of Donald Trump, I was stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job.
And then there's the audience, whose loyalty has been tested time and time again. While The View has always been a ratings powerhouse, recent controversies have caused some viewers to jump ship. The show's critics argue that it has become too partisan, too divisive, and too focused on sensationalism. Even longtime fans have expressed frustration, with many calling for a return to the more balanced discussions of the show's earlier years. But for every viewer who tunes out, there's another who tunes in, drawn by the sheer spectacle of it all. Because let's face it, love it or hate it, The View is nothing if not compelling. So where does that leave us? With a panel of co-hosts locked in an endless cycle of conflict, a growing list of public feuds, and an audience that seems more divided than ever. The drama shows no signs of slowing down, and if anything, it feels like we're hurtling toward an inevitable breaking point. Will the show implode under the weight of its own controversies, or will it find a way to adapt and thrive in an increasingly polarized media landscape? One thing's for sure, the story isn't over yet.
Which, by the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable, that lot, aren't they? It's just a side effect.
But what do you think? Is The View a valuable platform for diverse perspectives, or has it become little more than a battleground for clashing egos? Are the co-hosts pushing the envelope, or have they crossed the line? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, stay tuned, because with this much drama, there's always more to come.